Yo guys, what's going on? So today I'm gonna quickly teach you guys how to, I'm gonna do my very best to teach you guys how to use GitHub because to be honest, sometimes I personally don't understand completely how to do it, but I do want to get the information out there and I do want to help you guys out. So let's get us started. I'm not a professional, so don't get mad at me if I do make mistakes. So rather put it in the comments and just say you could have done this instead of doing that or something like that. But anyways, cool stuff. So let's get straight into it. I have made a new project, so it's literally called new project in Enfusion for this. You'll probably have your own project, and I'll show you where to find those project files in a second. Two things that you will need to continue this tutorial is a GitHub account, and your friends and team will also need to have a GitHub account. They will also need, you and your team will also need GitHub Desktop, which is the thing that I am on right now. Okay, so you're going to need those two things. The links for them will be in the description, GitHub and the download link for GitHub Desktop. So let's get straight into it. First things first, we have got our Enfusion project ready to go. We're going to go up here to File, New Repository. Repository name is going to be tutorial for me. For you, it might be your project name. I would recommend you setting it to that. And just give it a quick description. Education for me. So local path file. This is where it's going to get important, guys. So pay attention to this part. You're going to choose your file. Now, in your file, you'll see that you go to Documents, My Games, Arma Reforger Workbench, and then Add-ons. This file, this is where you're going to find all your projects that you've always been busy with. And this is also where, of course, these building packs, this is where you also put in your dependencies. That's why I've got these Armag Terrain Core and Wolf's building pack. I'll show you guys how to do that later. But for now, we're going to create our repository in the files, in the add-ons, in the folder add-ons, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to select folder, sorry. Git ignore is going to be left at none. License will be left at none. Initialize this repository with a readme will be left unchecked. Okay, so now we're going to create repository. Fantastic. Now you see this big blue button, publish repository. This means that you are sending the repository out so that everybody can see it. So we're going to click on here. Going to make sure that everything is correct. Keep this code private. Yes. Okay, well, that was part of my other test. So for you, it wouldn't have done that. So I'm just going to call it 01. Fantastic. Now we've got the repository set up. It's been sent over. Now when I go into my GitHub and go to my repositories, and you should also be able to see this, you should see tutorial 01 has been created. So you should be able to see these. These two need to go, but this one, you'll see these. Fantastic. Now you want to minimize this. We'll get to adding people in a second. We just want to set up everything. Before we add people, we want to quickly set up things correctly. So we want to open up our file explorer over here. We want to go to our documents, there where we put our repository. So don't mind this. We're going to go to My Games, Arma Reforger Workbench, and add-ons. So here, this is our, if you go into here, you'll see Git and Git attributes. So you'll basically just grab, so I just went back to add-ons. So you'll grab your project files, okay, and drag and drop them into your tutorial, into the repository, okay? You just drag and drop it in there. Now, you'll be able to see that your repository has got your project files in there. And then, once you click back onto your desktop, you'll be able to see that, okay, cool, I've got changes, I've got 2056 changes, changed files, okay? These are the files that will be added. Now, I'm going to go through creating and publishing these ones with you real quick. So we're going to give it a summary down here. I'm going to call it launch. If I can spell it correctly. Launch. And new tutorial map. Right, now we're going to click this commit to main. So what this does is it says that we want to push this to our main project. Okay. Committing to main. Fantastic. It shouldn't take too long. If it does take long, it's probably up to because you've got quite a large project that you are uploading. Could be that. So now we're going to push commits to original remote. Okay, so now we're going to push to original. This means that we are pushing everything to the main so that everybody can see it and pull it. Going to go to history, and we can see that we've got the first time that we launched. So we created and sent it to the web browser so that everybody can see that we've got a repository. And then we can see our launch, and we can see new tutorial map, which is the description. And we can see that, okay, cool, we've uploaded the map, and now everybody can pull it into their projects. They can pull it from the repository into their computers and then work on it from there. So let's say, for example, you want to add something to your world. So we're going to click on this. That is if Enfusion engine does not crash. Going to reopen this. There we go. So, okay, for some reason it just did not do anything. Sorry for not speaking. For some reason it just did not recognize my new Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. Going to go to add-ons. My games over here. Sorry, you don't have to follow this. This is just me being a little bit stupid. There we go. Well, pardon me, if you did see that your project wasn't picked up by the by that editor, by the thing that I just did. Just follow what I just did now. All I did is I opened up the launcher, and I obviously didn't see new there. So what I did is I went, add existing project, drag this like so, and just went to manually go and find it. So workbench, add-ons, in tutorial repository, double clicked on new, and then terrain, worlds, and then your add-on G project. This is one you want to click and open, okay? And then we've got it, okay? So you want to open that, and now every change that you make on this map is going to show up once you save. So let's open up the project. Over here. So let's say, for example, we just want to take a prefabs. We want to go to structures, and we want to add a house, town. Just add a townhouse, okay? Like so. And we want to add in, let's say, for example, we want to go and put in some trees in here, like this. Generators, forests, and drag and drop these ones onto there. Okay, we've got some trees. Okay, wonderful. And we want to make a slight little road out of here. I want to just make a little road out of here and go into generators, roads, concrete, asphalt, and then this one. And of course we want to unselect just to height map and move this one further, just like so. I don't want to go to too much detail, otherwise I'll be sitting here for the entire night. And another thing is we're going to create the coords like so, and just bring up these ones like so. Okay. Someone showed me last time. Oh, no, it was a reverse thing. Here we go, like so. And we move it like so. Beautiful. Okay, fantastic. So we've made a few changes. We've just saved. And we close this. So now, when you open up your GitHub, you'll see that in changes, you've got 4 changes. Now, we've made some changes. Beautiful. There we go. We've got the terrain. We've got this, and we've got the default layer that we set up. Now, we want to commit this to main. So we want to give it a title and a description. Fantastic. Added a house and there we go. And we want to push it to main, push it to origin. There we go. Fantastic. So here you'll see that we've just added the terrain, and there we go. Now, what I do want to say, when I'll get to adding people in a second, don't you worry. But what I do, oopsie daisies. I meant to, there we go. Okay. So it's imperative that you guys take this in. When working on a project, you guys need to communicate with each other. You need to tell each other when you are working on the terrain file. Now this is, the terrain file is when you are working and sculpting things. Okay? So, if I go into the terrain editor And let's say, for example, I decide to sculpt this end. So sculpting this, okay, sculpting this end over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Go and make this a little bit smoother, bigger, and just smooth it out nicely. So now I've got a nice hill, okay? So how it works when working with a team is at any point in time, only one person can be sculpting on the terrain. So think of it as a rental system. Only one person can rent the terrain at a time. If you try and sculpt on the terrain that has been rented, your sculpt work will be basically for nothing, because someone has taken that terrain. Let's say, for example, someone has taken the terrain out of the repository and is currently painting on it, creating mountains and all that type of stuff. So that means that you can't go and take the terrain as well and split it, because someone else has already got it. So you need to wait for that person to be finished with the terrain, otherwise your work will be overridden with their work. So I hope that makes sense. All I'd say with the matter is make sure that you communicate, and that you could say the rental system is worked out perfectly. Meaning, let's say, for example, Bobby has got it for 2 hours, Jeffrey is taking it after Bobby, and then Mike is going to take it for 5 hours afterwards. Okay, so everybody is placing things in the world, which is fine. Everybody can place things at the same time in the world, like trees, objects, any objects can be placed in the world at the same time. Okay, but remember one thing: when you are working with the terrain sculpting, that is a one person job only. So one person rents it, and then the rest needs to wait for that person to finish and put it back. Fantastic. I hope that makes sense for you guys. What else was there? There was the adding of the friends or the colleagues or team. So you're going to come into your repositories. You are going to open tutorial. Well, you're going to open up your repository that we just made. We're going to go to settings and collaborators. Now, just give me uno momente. Okay, fantastic. Now, you'll see that you've got collaborators, and you've got the people over here, so you can go and say, we want to add fish 1, 2, 3. And you'll say, you'll see that we've got fish 1, 2, 3, and you want to invite him. So you'll click on him and say add fish to this repository. Well, we don't want to add fish repository because I do not know that person. So you want to add that person that you have as a friend or a colleague or a team member. You want to add them, and the team member should see it in their notifications up here. Okay, or they should get a email, or you can just share the link once you've got it, so that will say its name, and then share the link, and then it will say if he's accepted or not. Okay, next thing is to remember, if someone is not working on the project, let's say for a month, and they're dead quiet, they haven't responded to any questions or anything like that, it is safer to remove them from the repository and then add them back later if they are not working at all, because it is inviting people to your repository does have a type of trust factor. So you need to trust that person is not going to be stealing your work or gonna do even worse, delete everything that you have. Obviously, you're gonna be Um, Obviously, you're going to have your part. Um, you're going to have your updated version, but yeah, it's just the security factor. You need to trust the people that you are working with, um, so that mainly so that they don't steal it. Not it's not easy, but it's possible to delete files. As the master of the file situation, uh, you were as like the master of files because you created the repository. You have a kind of way of restoring all the files, but it's more about the stealing of files that you need to be wary of. So yeah. Anyways, so I've showed you guys how to make a repository, how to add the world to the repository, and I told you guys about the terrain folder, which only one person can work on. I also need to show you guys two more things. So the first thing that I will show you is when a friend needs to clone the repository. So what he will do is he will just say clone repository from the internet, because he's just been added to your repository, so he will have the option of cloning that repository. Okay, so he'll just clone that repository to the file that he to the I would recommend documents and creating a repository file. Okay, that is what I would recommend, and then just working from there. It's easy to find and easy to go forth from there. And then if he needs to locate the file so that Enfusion recognizes it, all you have to do is you have to open Enfusion like so. Oopsie daisies, I should probably close this. Yes. Going to close this and close this. Yes. Okay. So what you want to do is your friend is going to open up Enfusion like so in the launcher. It's going to go and add existing project. Now, like I said, if he's gone to documents and made a repository, he's going to go to documents repository, and there he will find your thingamajig, your addon.gproj inside of the repository. He's going to click on that and he's going to open it, and then Enfusion will recognize it and he'll be able to launch the project. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Okay, cool. We've got these changes that we've just made to the terrain. We don't have to worry about that. And one last thing is, remember, when working on a project, you always want to make a duplicate, a backup of this repository. So what I usually do is I go to documents. Inside of my repositories, I will make a backup. Okay, so I will just go here, folder, backup, underscore the project's name. Okay, backup dot underscore tutorial name, or the project name. I'll go over here and I will find where I have put my repository. I will copy the tutorial repository and I will go into tutorial and paste it inside of here. The reason I do this is because if, let's say, for example, there is a problem where you accidentally overrided someone else's files, you will always have a backup of the previous version's files. So what do I mean by the previous version's files? I mean, when you've got, for example, let's say I have just uploaded a project, and right after, accidentally, without, let's say for example, I didn't say I was working on the terrain and someone else worked on the terrain, okay? So what in that case, what would happen is you'll just have to suck it up and, well, uh, you'll have to suck it up and take the loss. But let's say for this case that someone else made a mistake and overrided a bunch of files. It's important to have this backup one version one version behind your tutorial. So your tutorial file, your repository file, always should be updated. Do it in the morning, fetch origin in the morning, and fetch origin in the evening. Okay, it's important if you're on a very active team, morning and evening fetching of the files. And then this tutorial needs to be at least one version behind the backup needs to be one version behind the tutorial repository. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Well, there's a bunch of stuff in this tutorial that I really hoped makes sense, because it is a confusing topic, and it's it took me a very, very long time to grasp what I am trying to explain here, and I still sometimes get confused, very confused, with this file system. But you will get the hang of it. It's once you understand the basics of it, you'll kind of understand the whole thing, the whole system. So yeah, hopefully this helped you guys out and helps you guys make a fantastic map or project in Arma Reforger. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. There's a bunch more of there's a lot more videos coming out. I'm playing around with animations currently and playing around with a bunch of other stuff. So really hope that you guys enjoyed and understood. I know I said that quite a bit. But anyway, see you guys later. Cheers.